Welcome to another episode of Out of the Blank podcast. The you're not even doing the videos anymore. We got to get you back into it, David.
I haven't had a bowl of cereal in almost a month.
Wait, no cereal at all? I knew you were taking a break from the videos, but not the.
No, I haven't eaten it in a while. I haven't eaten a bowl, I'd say, since probably, in the end of June.
Is that
Taking a
just?
little break.
Is
I'm
it,
a
I'm
little, I can, yeah.
about to say, is it because the weather's changing? Is it you just not feeling the cereal anymore?
It must be a comfort food in the winter. It's usually my go-to snack when I'm high, but lately I've been just getting on toast and butter and peanut butter and some jam and, just staying healthy when I get high instead of eating cereal. So
Cereal's healthy, depending on which one you get. Get a nice pair of bran flakes. Now, if you're going to take a break and probably like we were talking a little bit about not doing the cereal reviews a lot, or at least not doing them anymore, are you going to try and find a new avenue to, why would you cover up your camera? That makes okay. But are you going to try and find a new avenue to go down?
I don't know. Like I started the account, a couple of years ago now, and just kind of went with it. And I think I just kind of, I don't know, not plateaued, but I kind of did what I wanted to, and it's not that I'm sick of it or want to try something else. I might just hop back onto it. I think I'm just kind of probably just
Get into
taking
porn,
taking some
dude.
summer.
Get into porn. I'm telling you, man.
I
I had to research into this about how much people on OnlyFans make. There's a lady that makes $100,000 a month by just showing videos of her feet that are like a couple minutes long. And I'm like, they don't even have to know if you're a guy or a girl or whatever gender you want to identify as. Just take your fucking foot out. You have a nice looking foot. You're getting $100,000.
People sell their panties online.
Sell your
I
panties.
was
What are we
I
talking about?
was I was thinking of a good ASMR video where basically if I eat something, eat something real messy, it gets all my beard, and the ASMR is me going up to the microphone and just playing with my beard and moving the crumbs out of it.
That would just piss me off. I'd be like, somebody get this man a napkin.
Man, how many fetishes do people have? It's crazy.
Well, I mean, we could probably name off a whole entire list, but what I found really, really interesting about the whole like porn industry in general was that people talk about how, like, would you say there's an unfair advantage in porn?
I don't even know who's the advantage for. I don't know, the director, the person that's not having sex, making all the money. That's the advantage.
Well, hopefully you're not getting paid like $50 to get shit on and all this type of stuff that ends up happening. You end up getting like taken advantage of. But when it comes to like genders, for instance, male and female, do you think there's an unrealistic expectation under each one? Like each one has its own disproportionate advantage?
Women, obviously, I feel like they're the star in any video they're in. So
Okay, so that's what I thought too, was like women would, there's in the porn industry or in the dirty content, adult content industry, there is a lot more of like women getting views because more likely it's a guy that is looking up porn and he's trying to, satisfy his urges in the next minute and a half that he has before he has to go pick up his kids at fucking daycare or some shit. So it just, I was wondering, I was like, okay, so if it's very, very good or it's good money for a lady like that to just get $100,000 a month by just making feet videos. And I go, okay, then what's the incentive for the guy? Like how much porn is there? And there's a lot of guy porn, obviously, if depending on if you're a female, if you're gay or whatever. But I started looking at like, well, there's always a cause and effect to something. And the one thing I didn't take into account is when you're a woman and you're shooting porn, you have a very, very small viable window because you're basing a lot of stuff off your looks. And then you got to factor into a fact how long until that girl eventually decides that she wants to start a life and she's done making feet videos. She wants to start having kids. Maybe that affects a little bit of whatever the porn is, especially if most of your porn is based off your body. Then it's like, okay, that plays an effect. So it's like how Pam Anderson, for instance, she was hot as shit in Baywatch, but then she started getting a lot of cosmetic surgery to keep up with that young appearance because she was famous for her looks. And she thought that
uh-huh.
as she got older, your looks start to fade. People don't find that attraction. Like if she would have walked into any room when she was 20, every guy would have done anything for her. But then now that she's older, it's like you're not really the hottest around. Like getting famous or getting money off of your looks, they'll do anything. Kim Kardashian will get butt
No,
implants or
exactly.
get anything like that. But for a guy, you don't have to really worry about a whole lot. I mean, you can keep your body in shape. You don't have to worry about kids fucking it up. You don't have to do a bunch of things. So I'm like,
We're lucky. We're very lucky. We don't have to birth kids. Like, as I see him, my wife if we're going anywhere, it takes like 2 hours to get ready. She's like, come on, get ready, get ready. And she bugs me. Then like 5 minutes before we go, I'm like, okay, I'll get ready. And I'll literally just get changed. And she's like, I hate you. Because obviously, like, I feel like she likes wearing the mask because she's like, I don't have to put makeup on there. So she has a pressure she has to put on a certain face. Women do, just to even go in public, right? Because they don't want to be seen without makeup or anything, right? So
I prefer if they don't put on makeup.
yeah, me too.
It,
Natural, buddy.
it's a fucking trick because then you wake up the next day and you're like, oh my god, who are you? It's like, well, it was makeup, silly. It's like, oh my god, I was lied to. I can't tell
Like,
when they get like the eyeshadow, the eyeliner. I'm like, is that's not natural? Is it? They're like, no, these are fake eyelashes, and they take off their eyelashes. I'm like,
oh, even the eyebrows tattooed. You can tattoo your eyebrows. And then basically it always looks like there's an eyeliner or whatever it's in it. And why are we into makeup here? But
I
yeah,
didn't even know you could draw on eyebrows until I saw a person put up like a before and then after. I was like, wait, that's a thing? Like those aren't just natural. Maybe it's because I need my glasses or something to be able to tell that it's
oh,
like
you wear glasses. Do you wear contacts?
I no, I don't. I need them for distance, but when I'm driving, I kind of just take a shot in the dark where I'm going.
Nothing wrong with taking a shot in the dark, right?
Hey, look, I best all my base life decisions on taking a shot in the dark, and it's worked out pretty well for me so far. But I've been thinking
Good
about the
man.
porn industry. I'm like, maybe I should just start selling feet
I was gonna
videos.
say that's my Emily used to have a friend when we started dating that was actually in porn. She went up to a big city and she wore a wig, and my buddy and I like found some of her old stuff. It was from a few years, like 2000 something. And yeah, but she wanted to make a change, so she basically got rid of all social media, I think, and she was under a fake name when she was doing porn, right? So, but really nice girl, and I couldn't believe that she was actually in porn. Obviously, she probably just had to. Basically, I'm sure where she was young, probably maybe 18 or 19, and found some guys like, hey, make some money, and took advantage of her and exploited her, right? Because she wasn't proud or want to talk about it at all.
You just got to be very, very careful because it's like if you start that, like, okay, let's take you when you're in your 20s, David. So if someone comes up to you and
Mm-hmm.
says, I'm going to be able to make sure that you get $100,000 a month and you're never going to have to worry about bills, all you're going to have to do is just, show your glorious chest hair and make some very sexual videos. And you're like, whoa, like I'm fresh out of high school. I don't need to go to college and spend all the money getting in debt just to get an education degree that might not work out. But now you're giving me an opportunity to do all this. And we think like, okay, the best thing that you can do with that is save every $100,000 a month you get, budget
No,
your
you're
costs.
blowing it.
You're gonna blow the shit out of it. You're gonna be like, I'm gonna
Yeah.
fucking toss out 10 grand just so somebody can massage my left toe. Like that's all you're gonna be doing dumb shit. But then it's like, okay, now you've spent so much in this industry, you're now holding an apartment or you're holding a house that is like $50,000 a month.
Yeah, maintain that lifestyle, right?
And then guess what happens is now you're out of the industry because they don't really like your look anymore. You're now
No.
more of like older. They're looking for young people now. And now you got to find a way to now live or try and find a way to live off of the fact that you've been living for the past 15, 20 years on $100,000 a month. Now you're going to have to try and find a real job. But then when you go and get a real job, you walk into the CEO's office of a business, you finally put on a suit instead of taking clothes off, you're putting more clothes on. You walk in there and you go, sir, I'm ready to get a job. My name is David. Here's my job resume. I spent a lot of this time in the adult industry. Like, what do you mean by adult industry? Well, there are some video clips I was doing for money because when I was a kid, they were offering this price and it was a very, very good price. And you're like, okay, well, let me look up the videos real quick.
No,
Oh
no.
my,
Yeah, they wouldn't do that.
oh my God, I'm never going to look at cereal ever again the same way. And it's like, so do I
No.
get the job? No, you're never coming back and get out of my seat and take the chair with you. It's like, oh, okay.
Um, I can't. I think you just froze for a second.
Oh, I'm sorry. Do you want me to repeat the
I
whole
was
story?
just I was thinking a good retirement plan. If no, no, if you're a porn star, like you said, and you were like, oh no, you kind of grow up and grow out of the lifestyle, then basically you made enough money to have a nice big house, obviously down in California, wherever they're filming that. And what you got to do basically, if you want to maintain that lifestyle and you're not doing porn anymore, you just rent out your house during the day for sex shoots, other productions. So basically, you're making, wow, you might even be making more than 100 grand a month, right? So,
well, let's porn, for instance, like a lot of people don't like it or don't like the look of it. They think it's rude. I don't
oh,
care.
everybody loves porn. They just say they don't like it and say it's gross.
Well,
Everyone loves
everyone
porn.
watches it, but there are some people that have a very shitty view of it. Like if you're in that industry, you're a piece of trash. And I'm like, I don't think that at all. I think if you're making money doing something that you enjoy doing, as long as you're not being forced into it, like the horrible conditions that a lot of people do go through, then I don't have an issue with it. But here's the thing is, even if you have a kink where it's just showing your feet, you can be the most ugly, like Zoolander, for instance, the guy, the hand model, he had his hand in a fucking jar. He did not look good at all, but all they're taking photos is his hand. But how long until what's going to pull you out of the industry? It seems like you could do that forever. You could be old and still have like your feet on camera or on thing.
Skin tags.
Well, what happens when you finally meet the love of your life and they sit you down and they go, hey, I don't want you doing these videos anymore. This is very, very strange and I don't like it. And you're willing to give up that to do that. That's the
whatever makes you
crazy
happy, though. Obviously, doing these videos is a means of making money. I'm sure people aren't actually happy with what they're doing or actually passionate about it, right? They're just using this as a kind of a way to make money to do something else. Like,
Why would you work a 9 to 5 when you can make a 5-minute video of just making your toes whisper by rubbing them back and forth together and make $100,000?
How much ASMR have you been watching?
It's not like that's not ASMR. That's kinky shit. I was just researching into this industry.
I like watching the ASMR where it's got like the Asian girls and it's not like I like this, but it's hilarious. I'll put it on because Emily hates the sounds of anything. And they're eating like fish. They have a huge like fish and they're just biting into it, or they got sushi and she's just trying to stop as much as she can. She's this little petite girl. I'm like, man, now that's funny.
I live in a beach town and there are some things that they're eating out of the sea I've never seen in my entire life. Like they had this one crab that was like, I guess a coconut crab, was a huge one, but she cracks the thing and but she starts biting into the shell. And I'm like,
savage.
What the fuck is this shit?
No, people want to see them get violent with and get rough. I don't know. It's where I'm sure I'd hate to see the comments that these people are getting, like, hey, next video, can you do this? Can you do that? Like, imagine the creeps that they are getting DM'd to them.
Well, what I started to realize was like how many people throughout all my episodes of my podcast have either been getting off to me talking, or maybe the guest that's on using it as like, what did they do in their dirty acts, or just have it as background noise. So many times I'm watching a movie and I'll be doing something and then like next thing you know, I was like, that was just background noise. I could have been, while I'm talking right now, there could be someone just going at it with a fucking stuffed animal. We don't even know.
With a stuffed animal.
Think it through.
Did Emily tell you about my childhood or something?
Every time you say Emily, the dude gets an even bigger hard on.
Oh, gross. let's just say I'll put this all out here. I don't know if I can talk this, and this is weird because I'm sober. I don't even care. I used to have a Care Bear, and basically that was my ride or die for a good 15 years.
What do you mean ride or die?
Basically every night, ride or die.
Fucked it.
Yeah, I fucked it. I humped it, dude. It was like it was my pillow.
It's not bad.
I remember when I was like 8, my mom came in. I don't even know why. This is I hope no one listens. my mom was like, Dave. She knew I was just doing it because I stopped. And she's like, if you're 8 years old now, you're a little too old for this, right? I was like, thinking I'm probably just too young to be doing this, but I'm doing it.
This fucking Care Bear is stiff as shit.
My dad kept that Care Bear.
God.
There's one side of it that was worn down. My dad kept that in the bottom of his drawer. And then when he passed away, my mom went on a rampage and threw everything out without asking. And that was like the one thing I was going to get. I wasn't going to give it to the kids, but it'd be hilarious to keep on to it. But she threw it out. And I was just like, I guess it's for the best, right?
I just picture like Emily took the kids out for like ice cream and you have that Care Bear and you just start unbuckling you're unbuckling your belt. It's been 30 years.
I know. Time to get acquainted, old friend.
Oh my God. I mean, hey, I've been glad you're open about. I think that I've talked to many people that have like podcasts about certain kinks and they use their name and everything. And I'm like, I'm glad that why would you? Everyone's got one. Why are you going to hide behind it? It only gets weird when you make it weird as shit. There's probably
Exactly.
some dude out there that is listening to this. He's like, you're right. Guess what I like to do? And then they start going off about how they like to just dip one of their balls in the fish tank that they own. Who
Because you don't
cares?
care. You're already open for how long? You don't like. To be honest with you, if I was to say that in a room with anybody I know, they're like, it won't surprise me because basically, there's no filter, right? So
There's just a
you don't
line
care.
between it's like, are you is it a kink or are you just a fucking psychopath?
Yeah, just got to scratch that itch.
I guess. I mean, there was that one lady. Who was it? Which is like I understand because especially when you're dealing with like relationships, which gets so weird. The one lady that drove 900 miles, um, wore a diaper so she didn't have to stop for bathroom breaks to go and try and kill the one lady that was cheating on her with or cheating with her fiance, I think.
Whoa, was this on a Dateline?
And she was an astronaut.
Who's an astronaut that put the diaper on
Dude,
and
all
drove
right,
that
hold on.
far?
I'll read the fucking article of this too.
Oh, did she killed the other girl? Did she?
Okay, so her name's Lisa Nowak.
Oh,
She was the astronaut that drove 900 miles to attack her ex-girlfriend. So during her trip to confront Colleen
oh.
Shipman, Nowak reportedly wore diapers to avoid bathroom breaks. It was inspired in the 2019 movie Lucy in the Sky. Imagine that you are fucking so mad at someone to go and attack them that you're going to put on a fucking diaper because you don't want to waste a second. You don't want to pull over to the side of the road at a gas station, get out of the car, walk inside, ask for the key to the bathroom. The guy goes, you have to buy something first. You go, okay. You grab like a pack of gum or you grab some type of pizza combos or some type of stupid $1 or $2 item, put it on the table, and he goes, all right, here's the bathroom key. You walk into the bathroom, go, I got to get back on the road so I can go. I got 450 fucking miles left.
Was she worried that she'd be caught on camera going in to get the washroom so they could trace her
No,
back her trail?
she was so pissed. She did not want
Wow,
to
literally.
stop to go to the
Jeez.
bathroom.
That's commitment. Do you ever pee in a car?
Have like in a bottle?
Yeah.
I think everybody has.
Yeah, because I was gonna say I did that once. It was kind of weird because we were driving down to New Jersey and we were on this crazy highway, and I'm from Canada, so I'm down there by almost New York. There's like 7 lanes of traffic. I'm like, yeah,
I
there's
love
no
how
way
you
I'm getting out of this.
I love how you had a disclaimer that I'm from Canada, so we do a lot
I'm
of
from
weird shit.
Canada. Yeah, yeah. So I have no, yeah, but I'm not used to the roads, right? So we had like a 1 liter Gatorade bottle in the back, and our two friends were there, but Buddy and his girlfriend. So I was just like, all right, guys, just don't look up here. And I was driving and I couldn't get off. So Emily held the bottle, right? And I filled that whole thing up, man. But then we lost the top. So we ended up having to pull over because that's all you could smell in the car.
I was about to say, why didn't you just dump it out?
Wow. If we dump all over the car.
You just stick your arm out the window and dump it out when you're at a stoplight or something. People think you're just dumping out Gatorade. Hey,
No, but we were on
that
a highway though. Yeah.
that Gatorade said Glacier Freeze, and that thing came out awfully brown yellow.
Lemon lime.
uh,
Electrolytes. Too much creatine, Dave. Your pee's yellow.
because when I was looking up, like, so I was up at like 4 o'clock in the morning. Well, I was on my phone since like 1, but I was supposed to go to like try and go back to sleep, which I ended up falling asleep for like 30 minutes. But I ended up going to like 4 o'clock in the morning just watching videos on the internet where I found the astronaut thing. Then also I was watching a documentary about a guy who was in like Afghanistan and they were searching for mines, like the little IEDs,
Yeah.
and he turned his right foot and then he just next thing you know remembers being thrown through the air, and
Oh.
he got his leg was blown off all the way up to like his pelvis. His other leg is like down like close to his knee, so he's got no legs, and then his arm was completely like cut off all the way to the elbow, and the other one was what they call, I think, sheared. And sheared is when all the skin on the bone is ripped off. So the bone's
Oh.
still there, but the skin is just completely gone. So then he talks about
That's
the,
gross.
and this is like 4 a.m. So I'm like, Jesus Christ.
I'm not going back. I'm going back to sleep right now. My
I
mind's
was,
going.
it was an hour video. I didn't know. So I thought it was like 10 minutes. And then next, it starts going and going and going. I'm like, this is longer than 10 minutes. But then, they have all the pictures of him in surgery. He's like knocked out. He goes, yeah, for a couple of months, I could not even like, they just kept me on morphine. So I was like out in and out. But then it's him trying to live his life, and he's got no arms, no legs, basically. And he's like, there were so many times where I was suicidal. He's like, what happens if I just threw myself down the stairs out of my wheelchair and broke my neck? And I'm like, yeah, but what happens if you get like at this moment right now, you're thinking you have nothing left to live for, like your life is already crap. Imagine if you broke your neck and then you're paralyzed. So then at least you can move around and shit a little bit,
Yeah, it could
you
always
know?
be it could always be worse, right? Yeah.
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 So he talked about that too, but they started a page talking about like how he's doing physical therapy, trying to get his like, life back together and trying his best to be, find happiness again with his prosthetics and stuff. And
Did you share a video or anything? I remember seeing something like that. He was working out in his garage
no, I think we
and he
might have
had
came
all
across the
prosthetics.
same video.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah, he had all prosthetics on and he was working out in his garage. I remember seeing, I think, a picture or video. Maybe it might have been the same guy.
but then they started like a Facebook thing and it was trending. He got his page real built up, trying to stay positive, trying to get everything going together. Found a girl, got into a real serious relationship. She helps out a lot. Then something came across, I guess he was on the internet and he found a thing about arm transplant. So he got put on the arm donor list and they found a way to be able to like take a dead person's arms and put them on his. And
Frig off.
dude,
Really?
I swear to you. So here's the crazy part where I start
How do
getting
they
goosebumps of
activate?
like some Frankenstein shit. So what they do is when they go to sew the arm on, like the new arms do not match his old ones at all. Like his rest of his like bicep, well, where his bicep is and everything, it's all a different skin color. And then when he gets down to like the forearms are fatter. Like they just don't look like they look like from like an obese person rather than looking from him who's like relatively thin. And so what they do is they sew it back on, but they do something where they attach every single nerve in your arm
Yeah.
to
How do
the
they
other
do that?
one individually. Like science has gone this far. And even the scientist was like, we get a lot of crap for this. Like people really do not like this. They think it's playing God. They think it's a bunch of things.
Yeah.
But even going into the surgery, there's no guarantee that you're going to be able to even move your hands at all. It's just they're kind of just there for looks. They're there for that. They're not going to be able to do anything. You're only going to have function of the real body parts and stuff like that. But after a month or so of him doing like training, working, doing therapy and rehab and all this stuff, he's slowly like where he's at now, like a year or so later, he can move two fingers, but he can lift his whole arm up and like tap things on the computer to be able to do like social media stuff, but he can't hold a ball. He can't squeeze anything. It took him forever. You get to see him doing the training thing. He's moving his hand through like foam and trying to pull out like test his sensory things. He goes, I can feel it when someone pinches that fingertip now. His nerves have somehow connected that in there. But
Wow.
here comes the weird part. So whenever your body has something inside of it that is not natural to its body that it's developed, it tries to reject it.
It'll
So
fight it off. Yeah.
his biggest thing right now is that he has to keep taking a steroid and a pill that dumbs down his immune system, because if he stops taking it, his body will start to reject the new arms. So like we're like he's like, yeah, in the next year, in the next 10, in the next 15, my body's going to reject these arms. And they showed a video,
Oh.
his whole entire elbow, everything looks severely like blistered up and like because his body's rejecting it.
Was he the first person to do like one of the
No,
like how long have you been doing this for? I wouldn't do that. Or dead person's arm.
for
I'd be happy with prosthetic with
as amazing as it sounds, I was a little bit upset because I looked and I saw he had a part of his tattoo that his arm got when it got blown off. It took half the tattoo off, and he had part of it. When he got the new arm, he tattooed the rest of it onto the new arm. I'm like, that's fucking creepy
I
as
gotta look
shit.
up this video. Yeah, this
Um,
is crazy, man. You always find the weirdest stuff. It's cool.
but it was just so interesting to me because I was looking, I was like, imagine that like you're working with these hands for 10, 15 years. They're now a part of you now. You've now adapted to them. And then now knowing that at any day you could just lose them. Like again, like they have to get taken off because your body's rejecting it too much. And he came across because he heard about some dude that got a new hand and some person that got like one new arm. He was the first one where it's like, we're going to give you two new arms. And he was like, he's able to do push-ups and stuff now. He's able to like move around. The weird thing is he's driving. I'm like, how do you drive with no legs?
You probably have those pedals. Like remember the Little People Big World on TLC where he had those stilts.
That's so sketchy though. What happens if you like mess up and the thing doesn't press the gas or brake down, and then you're in a car accident?
He probably has it hooked up now with today's technology. You could probably just put a button on a steering wheel. That's the gas, like a game, right?
Would you want another arm if they could give you another arm because you lost yours?
No. If it's a dead person's arm, that's just weird. It's like that'd be a premise of a movie. The guy puts on like a dead person's arm, all of a sudden, like there's like something attached, and all of a sudden, neurologically, he thinks that he's that person that died, and that'd be a cool movie. Anyways,
What? Hold on, hang on. I was just thinking, imagine if you got a different ethnicity's arm, and then you could start saying you're that ethnicity.
Yeah,
That's terrible thought.
Yeah. That's off the books, right? Yeah.
I was trying to think of like, because I was driving when I told you like this past weekend I went to my buddy's house and I was driving down his road and as I was going 55 and I had just pulled out onto the main highway, so I was speeding up real fast. I didn't have my seatbelt buckled, and I was like, you know what would be a really good plot to a movie is this: if a car like hit me head on and you just see this car start flipping and spinning, like you're filming from a distance, you see the car flipping and spinning, and then it's like it crashes. And you know how when they always like go into like the car when it's upside down and like videotape the person that's in there like that. But I was like, imagine if they did like a slow zoom pan up, like it's like you just see the eye, like the eyeball of a person, and it's slowly zooming out, and you realize the eye is popped completely out of their head, and it's like coming from an up angle, and it comes up, and the dude's just laying on the like knocked out, and his eyes just like, can you get a new eye? Can I get blue eyes?
Oh yeah, blue eyes. There was a movie with one of the actresses. I remember they did an eye transplant, and she basically seen the life of this other person. Jessica Biel was in it. I remember seeing that movie a few years ago. I feel like they can do anything crazy these days. Well, you obviously do some crazy research, man. Like I'm sure there's been stuff being done that
I wouldn't call that research. I call that like being up at 1 a.m. and or 4 a.m. and watching a fucking crazy ass video.
What's a good website to find crazy stuff on, or like a forum? Like do you scour the internet looking for cool stories?
Search Twitter. I don't know. Just
Twitter,
look through a bunch of stuff. You'll see. I usually go to like Science Today and see what they're trying to develop and stuff like that. Like that's everything right now is all about COVID though. So it's like hard to find anything that's not fucking talking about a disease and viruses and all that stuff, or wearing a mask. I'm like, I'd rather just would look up like the cool shit.
Are the cases starting to go up there again?
They say that, but I don't know.
I don't know what to believe anymore. They're going to do that every single year now. There's another wave, all this.
Well, like
we're almost out of lockdown. Well, we're out of lockdown, but
the White House put on some of our like towards like LA, and I don't really want to get into this all, but towards LA, they got the mask mandate back. So now they're all wearing masks again. So I'm like, people are wondering where that's going to hit now. But like the way the article does it is like the White House was like, we're not going to make it like mandate the vaccine or mandatory vaccine. And I'm like, you mean like you're gonna forcibly make people take, like you're already trying to come door to door and shit. So I'm like,
trying to scare people then.
I'm like, but how do you make that mandatory? Like, I think this would be 1,000% easier if the people that are unvaccinated and the people that are vaccinated just shut the fuck, live your own life. Why do people start giving a shit now? You haven't given a shit 40 years of your life and you're going to start caring now? Like, I'm like, come on. Like, it gets upsetting.
I know that's an open wound for you. And let's not dive into that too deep.
I would like
we had our first needle, but we were supposed to get our second needle yesterday. But I remember my first Moderna shot, I was sick, so I was like, well, I have a podcast with Robbie, and I don't want to be under the weather. So
God, you're gonna get me attacked by a bunch of people online because you're putting it on hold to do my podcast.
Tomorrow, David gets COVID.
God damn it happened today. He should have got.
You see, one of my favorite golfers just got COVID. Bryson DeChambeau, not favorite. He's not my favorite golfer, but anyways, a PGA Tour golfer. And you think they're all invincible, right? But
I have a question for you. So, when you were taking those videos of hitting your kid with a golf ball,
no, rephrase that. That was an accident.
Oh, those were accidents. You did it multiple times though. So I was like, how do you get
okay?
You had like different angles and shit. I was like,
it was about 40 yards away, and in the back of my thing, and then I was just hit it out towards him, and I'm usually not good with my aim, and Yeah, it was pretty funny actually. So now every time I'm out with the chipping around, he makes sure not to get in front of me.
But
But yeah.
did he like it though?
Oh, he laughed. Oh yeah, he loved it.
That's what I'm
He
saying. Is
loves
like
golf.
the way it happens is like I remember my brother, he when he was practicing for soccer, he would have me as the goalie and he really even wouldn't try and shoot a goal. He would just try and hit me in the face with a ball. So then eventually it became like fun where I would just put like my dad was like, Jesus, you keep hitting him in the head. Let me put on a helmet on him. So I put a baseball helmet on, like the pitch, like the giant batting helmets, and he would hit it, but it would hit the visor and actually make me fly back because the force of that hitting the thing and then hitting my head and making, but it was fun. I thought it was
Yeah.
hilarious. I liked getting hit. It was like playing dodgeball. It's the reason why people love that game so much.
When you're younger, you don't care. You just bounce back. You don't care about looking weak or anything. But like my two kids, Tucker can take a beating. Not a beating, but they're both so clumsy. But I mean, you think he's gonna cry? No, he's just gonna get up and get going. Braxton, I mean, if he stubs his toe, then we'll get ready for the waterworks, right? But those memories, like I remember beating my sister up growing up, and every time I pushed too, like we were too rough, and she started crying, I basically just pretend that I was like an ambulance worker and revive her because I didn't want her to tell my parents that I hurt her. So
It's another weird thing when we look at like how some people also act like children who are adults. And then like the main concept of like, remember when a kid falls and they turn and look to see if you saw it. And if you
yes.
make eye contact, they start crying. But if they don't start crying unless they make eye contact with you and they know you saw it. If you're looking away and not paying attention, they'll just be like, and they'll stop and get up and then they'll try and do something else to make it get more. It's attention seeking.
Yeah, exactly. If tree falls in the woods, anybody hear it, right? So, like, yeah, they just want to be. They're like, now's my chance to get their attention, or I might get an extra cuddle, or a hug, or something, or they might give me a treat if I hurt myself bad. Oh yeah, all about attention. We had some people over last night, and Braxton was chill as anything. And as soon as they all came in, he was bouncing off the walls, and I'm thinking, I was talking to my friends. I'm just like, he's just like his dad because he just wants to entertain and trying to make everybody laugh. So I'm like, you know what? I'm getting mad at myself right now. I'm getting mad at a mini me, and
Why do
soon
you,
you'll have a mini me.
well, why do you feel the need to make a lot of jokes and stuff? Is it because you just don't like the awkward pause of silence?
Exactly.
Thank you.
I
Okay.
just can't. I can't sit there and like, especially when people come over. I feel like I have to entertain, and if there's just a moment of quietness, because basically, if like a few of my friends are really quiet, and they're just I think they're expecting me to be stupid so I can entertain, right?
Do you find it strange that you can spend maybe a couple months like hanging out with someone and always talking and chatting and joking, and then the one time you're silent, they ask you what's wrong?
Oh yeah,
And you're like, I
yeah,
just don't feel like I was at my buddy's house. We're chatting, drinking, talking, having fun. And then like I was like, he doesn't listen to my show. I'm like, dude, just fucking he was like going over my t-shirts that I make. And he was like, you should change this to this. You should change this to this. I'm like, good. I like the insight. Keep giving me more. Because I'm taking the word podcast out of the name of on the clothing. So it's just out of the blank because then it's more manageable for people that don't just listen to the show. It's
yeah.
for kind of like I'm going to be a clothing brand. And we're talking, and he goes, yeah, he goes, well, this one's crap. And then he's like kind of like degrading me a little bit, but in like a brotherly
Mm,
love type way. And then I was just like, I was playing a game on like my phone. So I was like silent. And he just looks over, he goes, is everything okay? Did I hurt your feelings? I'm like, what? No,
yeah.
I was paying attention to something else. That's so weird because it's like I don't always want to be the life of the party or be the most chatted
No.
guy.
Yeah. I used to have a couple outgoing friends, and they'd always be around, and they'd make me laugh. I like to sit back sometimes and someone kind of just be the person to make everybody laugh. And that's like with Emily. Like everyone expects me to be happy and outgoing, and if I'm kind of like stressed out or whatever, not stressed out, but if I'm dealing with the kids or whatever, like Dave, you're cranky. I'm like, no, like I just can't be stupid joking Dave right now because I don't know. So everyone expects you to be a certain way all the time, and it sucks that like you said, like you can't just someone expects that something's wrong with you as soon as you shut the hell up.
Imagine the people that spend their whole life just playing the facade of it being an asshole. And then
Yeah,
then when like they're like hanging out they're just quiet and really nice. And you're like, I thought you were an asshole. It's like, yeah, it's just so people don't always ask and assume things of me. They just assume I'm going to be an asshole. So they don't waste their time with me. And you're like, oh
Ah,
my God, you set your life up to never be bothered by
yeah.
anybody. But that's a cold one in itself because then you have no one to call or rely on or be able to talk to when you want to.
No, I think it's certain moods. Like, do you get like I'm in certain moods where I'm just like, I don't want to talk. I don't want to go on social media today. I don't feel like talking to anybody. Like, I just want to go about my day and that's it, right? And other days I'm just like just a chatty cat and wants to talk to everybody. But it depends on the mood, right?
Well, that's the thing with social media too, is I'm starting to see like a big drop off with it on a lot of concepts of things. I mean, for me, like I'm only on it to set up something for a podcast or put up a post. But when you're like, there was one person that kept messaging me like 50 times in a row. And then like I was like, yeah, it's just conversation. Just check it out. And if you want to be on, let me know. And they're like intriguing. And I was like, I'm gonna retract my offer. Like it freaks me the fuck out when someone says intriguing.
Intriguing. Do you have another blank t-shirt on right now?
No, this is
I'm
this is a different shirt.
sorry, I know you like triangles. So,
Yeah,
and
I
this is
definitely have to reduce the size of that. I don't know if I should have it that big.
what, this one?
Yeah. That's an
What
actual
color?
photo that I took too. It's I filled a glass up with water and went to the beach, and then I just changed up the colors a little bit.
Wait, that's a sunset?
That's a sunrise, yeah.
Sunrise. Oh, yeah.
I-
Sunrise. You were there? It's
In my town, I took a. I'll send you the original photo, but I waited for the foam of the ocean to come up and then hit the glass, and then I took a picture through that. But I had to
You're
put
so
water in the
wise
actual
beyond your
glass
years.
too. So I put water in the actual glass, and it made it distorted a little bit, and it made
What
that.
made you do that? That's crazy.
Well, I
Like,
mean,
you just wanted to.
well, for so long, like I mean, back like the 5th year I was working out, I think it was a year after high school was over with, or my senior year. That summer, I didn't really like. I was doing jet skis and stuff, so I mean, I just never slept. So I'd be 1 o'clock in the morning. I'd be at the gym, go home 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm making like chicken breasts on the fucking stove, trying to do the fit life, that
Do
type of
do you
thing.
wake up? Yeah, wake up. Any family members doing that late?
I think everybody in my family is kind of adjusted since I was little of me not going to bed when I'm supposed to be in bed.
Yeah.
So
Did you used to like my little guy Tucker every night, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning? He comes on in and he wants to sleep with us. Is that how you were when you were younger? You just didn't want.
no, I never I stayed away from everybody. I just kind of do my own thing.
Yeah, well, you're making up for it now. You're connecting with so many people.
Well, it's like when I even now, if I wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning or something, I put my arm behind my head and laying down, like looking up at my ceiling. And after like a minute or two, I'm on my phone making like a new design. I'm on my phone going on Twitter looking for something for the pod. It needs to be something productive. If I'm just sitting there, like that documentary, as informative and as cool as it was, I was also in the back of my mind like, you're wasting fucking time. Go and do something. And it's like I'm watching a heartfelt story, and it's like that's not progressing your life any further. And I'm like, what? And there's that voice in the back of my
You
head
are
that's like,
just you are critical of yourself.
oh, all the time.
Oh my gosh.
I have an ego issue. That's why I know Bill Gates is the devil. I can see it. He's got an
Wow.
ego. He named, look, he's going for the Nobel Peace Prize. So what he did was he made friends with all the people that vote in the committee to make the Nobel Peace Prize to pick who's going to be
Makes
the next
sense.
one. So he made friends with those people. But imagine this. Is it more famous to be known as like, oh, a great inventor of this technology, or being a person who's got a charity that helps out cancer patients and it has your name on the front of it?
I feel like
People
the
wonder
charity.
why he donates to all these places. I'm like, it's an ego issue. If you start a hospital or facility in your name, people go, that must be a great guy.
Ah.
Hmm?
Okay, I'm expected to give back, so I'll give back just to give people what they expect I should do.
To still get that evil intent out there.
Kind of like Tiger Woods, he's got that foundation as well, especially with everything that went on with him and his mistresses. He's like, I kind of have to make some of that ground up. But I mean, just
I think there's a warning with anybody that plays golf is you probably shouldn't wear those fucking hats because a lot of them don't have hair on the top of their head.
Yeah, he's bald, right? It's funny when you see them when they finish on the 18th every time. They have to take their hat off and shake everybody's hand. I don't know if they do that anymore now, but it's funny seeing what they actually look like. Because you can't, like, you see a picture of a golfer with a hat on, you're like, okay, I'm like, who's that? He's not a golfer, right? But they're obviously paid millions of dollars to wear that hat.
Yeah, but that's such a like golfing. Like, I'm surprised you were so. I mean, I know understand if it was a big part of your life that you were so interested in it, but that's such a hard one to get famous or popular. I mean, the
Oh,
fact of like what the top person gets a lot of money, but you have to be in the top out of all the other people that are competing. It's not like football. You don't get everyone on the team doesn't get a good $1 million. One person gets a close to $1 million, and then next thing you know, it's like everyone else is kind of dicked over with like $1,000 or something for playing.
no, it's an individual sport. So I mean, only you depends. You don't have a team behind you to back you up, right? Um, yeah, most of the Americans are. I knew I was doing when we have winter here, right? So you can't play all year round. I was just like, you know what? Either you got to be in a warmer climate, practice more if you want to make it to the tour, and yeah, that's why a lot of people I knew that played good here, they go down and go to this like to tag like to the states, probably down where you're at, play golf.
How often do you go to
Just
the range?
maybe once a week. I don't play much anymore at all.
Well, I know you were telling me
Um,
Tucker has the ability a little bit like how you did when you were
oh
young.
yeah, we took him to the golf course this year already. Took him to the range. He can almost hit it 100 yards. So,
I'm
but
afraid all those videos of you like hitting the ball and accidentally hits Tucker that he's going to get a kink to work at a driving range, and then he's just going to stand out there in his underwear and let people just
oh
berate the
yeah.
shit out of him.
Oh my god. I seen a little bit of the new Jackass preview for
I'm
their
so
trailer, their
excited.
movie.
I'm so excited.
Oh my god, they're gonna kill themselves.
It's just
When's that come out?
it's supposed to be in August, so
Is it in let me guess now. We got theaters now.
it's going to be only in theaters for a while.
Man, I remember that came out. Geez, back when I was your age.
I think I mean why also there are some people that are like it scares me to watch that. And then there are some people like me that are like, I'm it makes me cringe, but I enjoy it so much because it's kind of like what people can accomplish or what people will do just for like a laugh, which is
Peer
like,
pressure, yeah.
yeah. And I mean, that's just interesting to me. I mean, I think Jackass started like this revolutionary trend of people making videos online, copying the same exact
Oh,
format.
100%. Yeah. Yeah. That's why they had to put that disclaimer in the front, right? Of
Yeah.
each show. Because people, I think I remember hearing some people were actually trying to do stuff. I don't know if people had seriously hurt or killed trying to do that, but then they had to put the disclaimer there.
It's just,
I'm surprised.
I wonder what the next thing is going to like. What, how do you know what the next thing is going to be?
I can't believe the dancing. Like the dancing on TikTok. Like I sound so old, but like if you were to post a video dancing when I was like 18, you get made fun of. Now, like you do a dance and you're like famous. It's crazy.
Well, TikTok's having some issues right now. I don't like TikTok. I've never been on it. Mostly
Uh,
because if you look deep enough, you're gonna find some very weird shit. And also, TikTok apparently is under fire because I guess recently there's been a big spark and increase of people that are posting how evil their stepmom is and like saying all this horrible shit in videos where like people are going on like this is my stepmom, she took away my keys to my car, she took away all this stuff and has locked me down in a contract, eventually took my house from me. And it's like what the fuck is what? And it's like revealing how evil stepmoms are. I'm gonna try and find it, but I'm like, is this what is on TikTok? I didn't know TikTok was a
people are
platform.
people are desperate for attention. It's insane. Now you go on YouTube now, they have the short reel, just like TikTok now. So
Well, how
I
how
just can't
far
get.
until we have a nightcrawler scenario where people are going to create disasters on the aspect that's going to get them famous?
Hey, Jake Gyllenhaal, that was a good movie.
Yeah, it was. I'm just let's focus on the actual reality of that being a possible scenario. There were people that did that back in the day. That's based on a real thing. But what how much of that is happening now?
Oh, I'm probably still like TMZ, like they just want to get that shot or whatever and sell to whatever media outlet wants to take it. Like that's putting food on their kids' tables, so they're going to do anything for that.
Trying to find this article. This is where you talk for a second while I search this.
I don't know. I'm just like to be famous. I mean, I mean, everyone's like, it's good. But then you hear people just going nuts or going crazy. And I think that's just basically like you're putting so much pressure on these people. Like Shia LaBeouf, I bet you if he was just a normal guy, he wouldn't have had a crazy meltdown and did what he did. Or Walking Phoenix, right? I think being famous, being followed, and being like basically under the public's eye every day, it makes someone go crazy. You feel like you're under a microscope. And you're expected to be a certain way.
Well, the big thing
I
was
would.
like that in I guess the Tokyo Olympics, America didn't even place and get a medal.
What?
Yeah, the Olympics in Tokyo, whatever that
They
was,
haven't got a medal yet?
we haven't got a medal. At least from when we're recording this on the yeah.
I haven't paid attention to it at
About said
all.
the top article was like America didn't place and get a medal. And it was like it was very, very interesting because I was like, I don't know what why is that? Or someone I don't know, maybe we're not as good as we thought we were. I don't know. That's probably true.
That's because COVID affected you guys more. So the athletes couldn't train. They got a little bit of COVID body. And the countries that didn't have had the shortest lockdown, they were able to train more. And now they're beating the States.
I really want to find this freaking article about TikTok.
Emily got rid of TikTok. Her first video was almost 1 million views. And I was just like, that's hilarious. But she gets sick of
What
it.
did she do?
She took we were at a house we were renting and it had like a jacuzzi tub. So she took all my clothes, my work clothes, and put this borax and like type of cleaning solution in there. But the first part of the video looks like a jacuzzi tub and they see a girl's account. So they probably think Emily's going to do something in the tub. But she basically soaked all the clothes and it pulled out every little bit of dirt. Roxy, you want to say hi? Say hi to Robbie.
Bobby.
Say hi to Robbie.
What's up,
Who's
Braxton?
Robbie?
Here.
You've seen me multiple times, bud.
You hear him? He just likes you.
Yeah. How
How you doing, Braxton?
good.
Should Robbie have kids?
Does Robbie have kids?
I'm thinking in 10 years. In 8 years, he's going to meet the girl of his dreams. And then he's going to give a couple of years.
8
to,
years. I'm gonna
Why?
be 31.
Yeah, buddy. We're giving lots of time, man. You're young. Don't rush
I
anything
want to
before
have
you're
kids
30, right?
now. And then I
Really?
want to leave.
All right, buddy. All right, buddy. Say bye to Robbie. Hold on.
Bye, Braxton.
All right, buddy. I'll take you to your play date soon, buddy.
Okay.
Oh, kids.
You have to admit
Do you
that
want kids now?
you really enjoy having
Oh, yeah.
kids.
It's nice being called dad. That's for sure. It's weird that you have somebody that looks up to you. It's strange.
What have you noticed
But
in
it's
Braxton
nice.
that's like a part of you?
Everything, like his attitude, his stubbornness. Just he's very eccentric and loud, and I don't know. It's just what because he's trying to figure out himself. So he's now trying to deal with emotions and everything. Sometimes he gets mad, and he's just like, I don't know why I'm mad. And then today, like this morning, what I've noticed about him is something I noticed about myself is he got a bowl of Cheerios from his grandmother last night before bed. He didn't eat any of it. So then he called me down this morning because he spilt it and he felt really bad because his grandmother gave him the Cheerios and he wanted to eat them, right? Because she took the time and care and love to put them in a bowl. So that was just like me when I was younger. I felt like whenever my mom made me lunch or supper, even if I didn't like it, or if I knew she kind of took the time and care to prepare it, so I'd still eat it. And I was like, wow, he's I don't know what you call that, but
it's a bit of like oversensitivity, but it's also a very humbling trait of knowing how, like, if you look at the grand scheme of that, like just the fact that we have refrigerators that hold a lot of food for us and the fact of prepping a meal, making a meal, like just understanding that effort is going to make your house run 1,000% more smoothly if a kid can understand that and not be like, I don't like mashed potatoes and they have a fit. It's like, well, if you understand the time and effort it took, even if it's Instamash, it's still someone wanted to make you something and decided to boom, put that right on the thing.
That's a soft spot for you, isn't it? Mashed potatoes.
I wish I could make it properly. Yeah. I got 4 boxes in my closet and I don't even want to attempt it anymore.
Doesn't it come in a dry packet and you put it in with water and milk?
They say add this much water, but what happens if I want to make more than what they're saying? And they're like, well, then just add water and stir to mix whatever. I'm like, look, just fucking.
So it's too runny, eh?
Let me just get a can of tuna out. This is easier.
Do you mix it with mayo?
Open that shit.
I'd go for a tuna fish sandwich right now. That's great.
I don't mix
Tuna.
anything with mayo. That's disgusting.
Really? Yeah. I use Miracle Whip and tuna. Mix that in together and then put on a sandwich with some green onions.
That's interesting. I'm really on a rice and beans kick right now. I think it's giving me some weird ass dreams that I enjoy.
Well, that explains some of the Snapchats.
What are some of my Snapchats?
No,
Oh,
you know what your
okay.
Snapchats
I know
are.
what you're talking about. Yeah,
They're pretty shitty.
they're pretty shitty. Yeah, 100%.
I feel like I could smell them right through the screen.
Now, do you have any Chuck E. Cheese's down in your area or places like Chuck E. Cheese?
No, I wish.
Do you have,
No,
you don't have any like childhood arcade places?
no, we did have an arcade in the mall. That's gone. We finally got like this arcade, and it's got like a virtual reality place. It's a whole center. It's called Palladium, and it finally opened this year. But I mean, to go bowling, it's $30 for a string. Like, it's just ridiculous. For an hour, it costs $30 to play any game you want. It's just overpriced.
I
Like,
think
let's just stay at home.
the last bastion I had of hope was when they were making more Dave and Buster's. And I was like, look,
I've heard of those. Yeah.
I'm not pro people playing games instead of enjoying time with your family, because you kind of have your family just go off and do something else. But when it comes to connectivity with your family again, or at least having a spot where it's like an arcade scenario, those classic old arcades where the whole family went down there. Like, I've talked about it before. There was a place in my area called Family Fun Center. I used to have all my little birthday parties at when I was a kid. There were countless times where I was like, whatever happens to that place? And my parents were like, we didn't have enough money sometimes to be able to have, because my brother's birthday is same month as ours. So he was like, we couldn't run out the whole thing. And he just did it for free because he actually cared about, like, he was a caring guy. And I was like, damn, like, there's no places like that anymore where you get to do skee ball and stuff like that. And they don't even, no matter if you have tickets or anything, they just give you a prize. Like, I hope, have a, that's saving the kids at the childhood factor. And now it's like, how many kids are not having a childhood on the concept of they're growing up too early? I had a childhood, but a lot of it was a lot of alone shit. So I don't want a kid experiencing that. I think, but here's the weird part is life is very ironic. If you're going to be a good talker, like I'm okay, I end up
No,
getting
you're
like,
good.
I end up getting like throat cancer, or something happens where the voice gets taken away because it's supposed to show you something about use the ability while you have it, because it doesn't last forever. For this occurred to me the other day when I was sitting on a back porch and I was getting a little bit tipsy. I was looking off into the water and I go, most of my thoughts or my perspectives, or where people say you are age beyond your years, spends time, it's from time in isolation where you can sit and balance off your thoughts. Now, if I look back at my life, at all the times I was sitting alone, just kind of balancing life out like a hermit with my thoughts, would I understand, or would I appreciate the fact that not in that moment, but now at the point in my life where I'm at now, all those times in isolation have built this type of thinking and processing where I can understand other people's perspectives. If I went back in time to talk to my younger self and explain that to me, would I understand that, or would I do anything to just make the pain go away?
That's such a deep thought. Man, just to even think about that, like, you're waiting to pull that one out.
I just thought of that, to be honest with you. I was thinking about it yesterday. I just totally forgot about it because the whole night that transpired after that was like, I don't remember most of it. So
you had a good childhood, obviously. I mean,
it depends on what
you
you
just
define as good.
do you reflect a lot on your childhood?
I reflect on the concept of, I think when it comes to parenting, for instance, both my parents worked 2 jobs. So it was like you spend a lot of time alone. So even though if you have a house and it's about paying the bills, you never want to struggle. You never want to try your hardest, in the area of like, I'm going to work my ass off to make sure my kid has food and all that. That's important, but also the emotional connection to a lot of shit too. Because there are plenty of moments I would definitely trade in for just having someone to be able to bounce my ideas and my thoughts to. Because how many people get into a situation, even in your own life as an adult, where you just want to talk to your parents? You just want to talk to them and they somehow calm you out and realize everything that you're worried about right now is only very dramatic because it's right in this instance. In a month from now, you're not even going to think about it.
No.
Are you still there? Or did I freeze? I might have frozen. Either that or he's doing a really good wow. Okay. I thought I was frozen, but you were just really, really still.
No, I couldn't.
No, he's frozen.
No, I
Right,
can.
can you
I
hear?
can. It's just breaking up a little bit. That's all.
Okay.
That's what happens when this is.
That just scared
these
the
were
shit
in
out of me. I
water.
was like, dude, you got to be a mime or something. Like the people that stand up on like on a cane, but their whole body's in the air, but they're just holding on the cane, and the cane's the only thing that's standing. There's no wire under them or anything.
Oh man, it was a. I don't know. Like I'm just trying to think about childhood. Like I had my good moments and your bad moments, and your bad moments you kind of want to put behind you, or
You put all
I
your
guess
trauma in the Care Bear.
literally. And yeah, a lot of hard-earned hours. But the Care Bear countdown was always good to me, and Care Bears is still on. And then my two kids seen that one time. They're like, "Oh, Daddy, can I have your Care Bear?" I'm like, "No." My sister had a Cabbage Patch doll, and I remember her biting because it was plastic, and she'd bite the faces off them
Just the
when
face.
she was little. She'd chew the faces right off. It was weird.
It's fucking nuts.
Oh, I know. She hated I even said that.
So that's what happened to Michael Jackson's nose.
Yeah, someone just bit it off. Yeah, my sister.
But I look at the concept like when people say, well, here's a way like how I've raised 10 kids. Here's how I did it. And they teach you like, oh, you have 4 very successful kids. How'd you pull it off? Rob Lowe says it best. It's a stroke of fucking luck. Like that's just you get lucky
Rob
with it
Lowe.
because you could train your. I love Rob Lowe. If there's anybody that's pure of heart and can hold Thor's hammer is Rob Lowe. But when you start, like I've been looking at it, I was like, how many moments in your life, like every instance I could have had where I was spending myself in isolation, just wanting help at the moment I was in, could have easily turned me into a horrible human being that just wants to light fires or be a criminal or do all these types of things that would have thrown me off on the wrong track. But instead I used it
Yeah.
to think more and become more reliant on myself rather than relying on other people to do things for me. And I go, that's a very lucky coincidence because there's that percentage chance. Like you raise your kid 18 years, and then he's finally going out on his own for the very first night. And you're like, the kid's going to college to be a doctor. The kid's fucking successful in all the ways you can mark off being successful. He goes out to a bar, someone gives him cocaine and goes down a bad drug rabbit hole.
Holy Jesus. Yeah.
Think it through. Like life is like this weird thing where someone can throw a monkey wrench in it and then fucking delay your progress for 15 years. Where I start looking at even the podcast, for instance, is this delaying what I'm supposed to become?
No, you're connected with yourself. Obviously, all that time in isolation when you're younger, you're connected with yourself, right? I find when you're younger, you just go through stages. I mean, it doesn't matter if you were a badass and you were doing things when you're 15, right? I mean, you grow. Then you become an adult and you look back on it, you're like, you know what? I did some good stuff and I did some bad stuff. And you know what? It basically, you're like, okay, oh, this is fun to do. I like this. Oh, this is probably bad. I shouldn't be doing this. And then you find out the kind of common level between good and bad. And then basically I find that you grow into the person that you are. I mean, you're not like perfect, but no one's perfect.
Yeah, but time
you're still going to make mistakes.
The older you get, time moves so much quicker.
Once you have a schedule each day, time is just after high school. I find time is just a blur,
dude.
And especially after you have kids. Oh my gosh.
Literally, like it's already been we're almost 8 months in to another year, and it feels like I don't even really remember a whole lot of it.
Like I just met you and it's 2019.
Like that's almost been going on almost 3 years now. So it's like
that's crazy
to think about that though. Like
you haven't aged a bit.
Maybe because like school was so fucking boring when you're in it. So it just felt like your younger years were going by so slow. And then now that you're able to do whatever you want, time goes so fucking quick. Like when I drink, which I rarely do. On the weekend, for instance, I had a little bit of like this whiskey slushy and I'm sitting there and time, like I was taking it in. I started to notice like the more I was getting a little bit drunk, I was taking in the moments.
That's
I was like,
the best part. Yeah.
I was like, this is like real shit. This is fucking my life right now. I'm hearing everything. The water move. I noticed that because it was in a back channel. So there was like water, jet skis, boats and everything. Some dude was about to guess filling up his jet ski. And I noticed he dropped gasoline in the water and I could see it, the rainbow color go through the water. And I was noticing every little minute detail, the pool filter at my buddy's house that was making the filtering noise of cleaning out the pool. The birds that were chirping across, like I was just noticing so much
It
more. I was
sounds like you're on drugs, because that's what happens to me when I smoke weed.
see,
You press pause.
that's what that's like, it's so fucking hard to explain, but like when people take Adderall, that's what I experienced when I was on Adderall. I experienced like just everything. I could sense the moment I was in, not the high effect that everybody's getting. And I guess that's my ADHD, because constantly as I'm talking to you right now, I'm also thinking about what I'm going to do an hour from now. Also, I'm trying to think about going to the grocery store and how difficult that's going to be since it's raining here. And then my mind's just
Well,
going
you don't
off
like
and
the
off and
rain?
off. Well, it's not fun when everyone's packing the store because they're like, it's an apocalypse. It's like, no, it's just rain. It's just rain.
Yeah. You guys get, yeah, I don't know. Do you like worry? Like,
Do I worry?
what do you think about your future? Like, what do you think about like, what do you think in 10 years? Like, do
I
you
don't
feel
think
you're gonna
that
keep
far.
growing? Like, I feel like
26 is the cutoff. That's 3 years from now.
do you feel like you spend more time thinking about the future or kind of like your
100%.
past, or you just live in the moment? I just live in the moment.
I look 100% towards the future, even though probably the best information is left in the past. There are many moments I
Yeah.
take and I analyze of like, why do I think this way? And I start to look back at like, oh, it's because of this day or this thing. But I'm always worried about the future. I'm always wondering what tomorrow is going to hold for me because I don't know what that is. The world likes to base things, or at least I like to base things off of history in the past because it's there, it's already happened. So you don't need to predict. But then when you look at the future, nothing's promised. There's nothing written down. There's no template to be able to figure out what tomorrow is going to hold for you. You could get into a car accident tomorrow. You could, the next day after that, it could be a week from now. You don't know how long until your time is finally up. How many people die at the age of
Very
30? I
good.
don't think they were predicting that they were going to die at 30.
No, no. And I mean, after when someone, obviously you lose someone close, then it puts everything in perspective too. You're like, you know what? They're just like me. Nothing was wrong with them. What the heck? So you kind of take every day for granted too at the same time, because sometimes I find I have a moment every few weeks where I'm just like, I got to really enjoy this moment. I got to live in it right now, because I know in like 6 months, like 10 years, I'll still be in that moment. Emily, okay, I got.
I about to say, I can hear the kids screaming.
Yeah,
But I'm going to leave
yeah.
you on this. Imagine if everyone's like, heaven's going to be this great grand thing. But imagine if you die on here and you get there and you realize, why did I not get here quicker? Everything is so much better. And this was the tasking process, the regular life, the one that we think is this beautiful, magnificent thing. And when it ends, you end up getting heaven or you get a hell. What happens if you get to the afterlife and you realize this was just stage one? There's a stage two, and stage two is 1,000 times better. We look at stage one, like, I can't believe I didn't get here sooner.
What if we're basically going through stages until we become like, basically, you know, you use a certain
Butterfly.
amount of your brain. Basically, yeah, every stage of your life, you start another stage, become like a whole complete person. Like maybe these are just steps that we need to go through. To like, yeah, that's a good way of thinking too. God, you're deep. I need to get high, and we should just have a chat, not doing the podcast, because man, you really know how to turn things.
Well, hit me up tonight if you want.
I will, bud. I
Okay.
will. And we'll have to have a bowl of cereal soon, man. I can't, it's been too long.
All right. Well, David, do you want to promote your stuff, or do you have anything you want to end on?
Just come follow High Spoon with 2 zeros, and there'll be some more content coming in the fall.
Content coming in the fall.